So now we wanted to do some additional updates to our navigation menu, because typically, even though your navigation links, they're actually going to be hyperlinks, you don't want that typical underlined look to them. You want to have something different to differentiate them as not just hyperlinks, that they're actually page links and navigation links. So we're just going to go back into our HTML document, and maybe it's going to remove this out because we're not really using that, and going back over to here, and I'm going to remove out Google because we really don't need to be clicking out to Google. So we're going to have page 1, page 2, page 3. This is going to be our typical navigation menu, and in order to select the navigation menu, I can just do nav and select out all of that content that I have there. I'm going to set a background because I want this navigation bar to really stand out. So I'm going to set a background color. And again, when in doubt, it's always a good idea to use grayscale colors when you're designing. And then this helps you to kind of really be able to visualize what particular elements are standing out and how the content's standing out. So I'm going to switch the color to black and see what that looks like when I refresh it. And we see that we get that entire length, and we still have these underlined hyperlinks. So in order to remove the underlining of hyperlinks, what I can do is I can do A, and then, so this is going for all of my hyperlinks, all of my A tags, the anchor tags, and I can do text, declaration, and just going to select none. And that's going to remove out those hyperlinks. And we can see here that now that they've really been taken out, and they're starting to look a little bit more like a navigation menu. And this again is where we're going to have to use that padding to really be able to pick out padding, or pick out our navigation menu. So we're just going to do some padding around it, maybe do a 10 pixel padding, and go back out there and see what that looks like. And also, I'm going to add in this text transform, so I'm going to transform all of these to uppercase. And I also need to do a little bit more there to really be able to differentiate them. So another thing that I can do is I can do a margin. And I'm just going to maybe do a margin of 10 pixels as well. And then also another thing that I can do, background colors. So going back to that background color, because again, I really want all of these to stand out. So maybe I could even just do them white for now, because I want to have a really good contrast so that navigation is really easy to spot. So now we can see how that's coming along, and we can see that we've got our main nav bar in the back, so indicated by that line, and then we've got these menu items. So one other thing, maybe we need to change the height of it to be 50 pixels. So we better cover off all of that spacing. That padding is really throwing us off there, so I'm just going to remove that and maybe put the padding along there so that we have a little bit better spacing, and maybe even remove out that height. So that's a little bit more dynamic there. So we've got that padding around there, and we're actually able to reserve out the spacing, and I'm going to add in a little bit of padding here as well. So I'm going to do a 5 pixel padding. And going back out one more time, refresh. So this is starting to look a little bit better, more like a navigation bar, where we've got these different clickable navigation boxes, and when we click on these will actually bring us over to the new pages.